The university wants to better prepare students for life after you graduate and looked at ways to do that in a town hall meeting this past week.
And we told you about some of the things you may see on your ballot. So now we let you know what to do and where to go once you've done your civic duty.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Bear News Today. My name is Gavin Burlack.
And I'm John Warner, filling in for my good friend Ben Schumann.
The University of Northern Colorado continues to work toward a 10-year vision of what UNC will look like by 2030. After more than 900 people participated in campus forums and a survey in September, the President's Leadership Council hosted a town hall Monday to get feedback about a draft 10-year vision for the university. The vision document identifies desired outcomes in 5 general areas. The first is that UNC will be a premier student-centered institution that is focused on learner success. The second area deals with diversity and inclusion. It says the university considers equity and diversity is a core value that the university's students, faculty, and staff are the institution's greatest asset. The third area talks about faculty and staff development, which says the university needs to provide support for staff and faculty to grow as engaged citizens, educators, scholars, mentors, advisors, and professionals so they can better serve the students. Area 4 deals with the innovation and says the university needs to be a leader in the delivery of education to meet the needs of today's students. This area also deals with the use of technology to better prepare students for the future. The final area deals with developing partnerships and being committed to the larger Greeley area. In this area, the university's goal is that UNC be the first choice institution for Northern Colorado students because of the partnerships it built with the institutions like Ames Community College and the Greeley-Evans School District 6. The university also wants to partner with local businesses and nonprofit organizations to increase student opportunities. In addition to the feedback from Monday's town hall, the President's Leadership Council invites feedback from the campus community through an online survey until October 18th. Based on all of the feedback, the Leadership Council will refine the draft before presenting it to the UNC Board of Trustees for the consideration at its November 15th meeting.
If you're a Greeley or Evans voter, you probably got your ballot for this fall election this week. If not, you should get it soon. With about 2.5 weeks until official election day, you have several options for casting your vote. If you start early enough, you can mail your ballot. You can mail your ballot back to the Weld election office, but give yourself some time. The last day you can mail your ballot is October 28th. It has to get to the election office by election day on November 5th, and make sure you attach enough postage to get it to there. The post office won't deliver it without sufficient postage, and so you can drop off your ballot in person prior to election day at a number of locations. The Weld office will take your ballot from 8 to 5 on weekdays starting October 11th. The office will also be open Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. and then from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. on November 5th to take ballots. They'll even have a drive-up service so you can drop off your ballot from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. at the Weld election office on election day. In addition to the Weld election office starting on October 28th, you can also drop off your ballot at the Weld County Training Center in Greeley. It's open for ballot drop-off from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Saturday, November 2nd, and from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. on election day. You can also vote there in person on election day from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And finally, there are 12 other locations from around Weld County to drop off your ballots 24 hours a day, starting October 11th and continuing through election day. 2 of those are in Greeley and Evans. You can drop off your ballot at any time, 24 hours a day, at Greeley City Hall and at the Evans Community Complex. We here at Bear News encourage you to get out and vote and make sure your voice is heard.
If you stay up to date on national news, you've probably heard about the effort to impeach President Donald Trump. After months of resisting the effort, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi finally announced an informal impeachment inquiry earlier this month. Here's a snippet of what she said.
The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry. I'm directing our 6 committees to proceed with their investigations under that umbrella of impeachment inquiry. The president must be held accountable No one is above the law.
Now, all of this unfolded within the past few weeks, and new developments come by the hour. In today's show, we take an in-depth look at the impeachment inquiry and the timeline so far.
In August, Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson received a whistleblower complaint about a phone conversation between President Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky in June. The complaint accused President Trump of abusing his power. Later investigation found that the whistleblower was not present during the call but gathered information from the 12 people who were listening. Atkinson told Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire the complaint was of urgent concern and this credible in its sources. Although Trump made the call to congratulate Zelensky on his election win, the whistleblower charged that the president also discussed personal interests. And the whistleblower accused the president of demanding Ukraine restart investigations to former Vice President and possible 2020 election challenger Joe Biden, as well as his son Hunter. The whistleblower complaint also said President Trump advised Zelensky to meet with his envoys, personal attorney Rudy Giuliani and Attorney General William Barr, who were both identified as key players in Ukrainian foreign affairs. The whistleblower also charged that the president told Zelensky that he investigated Biden in the U.S. and the U.S. would withhold $400 million in Ukraine security assistance.
The complaint also raised red flags about the transcript of the phone call, saying it reported that the transcript was locked down by senior White House officials, loaded onto a system otherwise used for classified information when the call was not viewed as such. That claim has since been debunked by known use of the same system with former presidents, including Barack Obama. But congressional Democrats and Republicans immediately demanded the transcript of the call be released. Bowing to the pressure, President Trump released the transcript, readily agreeing that he suggested that Zelensky investigate the 2016 election interference by Ukraine, but argued it wasn't a personal quest to investigate Biden, but to weed out corruption in the government. The transcript seemed to back up Trump's mentioning asking Zelensky to investigate a corruption as a favor, but did not demonstrate that Trump threatened to withhold the aid. In an interview with Newsweek, Independent Senator Angus King showed skepticism towards the transcript summary. King said he and his staff read through the summary at a normal reading pace, timing it at 10 minutes and 40 seconds, revealing roughly 20 minutes of missing content from the 30-minute phone call. Whether the time difference is the result of delays for translation is unknown, but it heightened Democrats' criticism. A week after the announcement of impeachment inquiry, President Trump then publicly suggested that China should also investigate the Biden family.
Look, and by the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine. So I would say that President Zelensky, if it were me, I would recommend that they start an investigation into the Bidens, because nobody has any doubt that they weren't crooked. That was a crooked deal, 100%.
Now, this announcement came a few days before a scheduled meeting between American and Chinese negotiators in hopes to revive a bilateral trade agreement between the two countries.
Speaker Pelosi designated House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff to lead the impeachment inquiry, a departure from previous impeachment inquiries that originated with the House Judiciary Committee. The inquiry has resulted in numerous subpoenas for testimony from anyone related to Ukraine foreign affairs. These subpoenas call for any documents and information regarding Trump and his administration's interaction with Ukrainian leaders. The administration has declined to allow administration officials to testify and has refused to supply documents, saying that the subpoenas are meaningless because there has been no vote by the entire House to launch a formal inquiry. Former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Marie Yovanovitch testified last week, along with former Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland. Trump's former top Russian advisor Fiona Hill testified Monday, and two Giuliani associates have been subpoenaed but aren't expected to testify willingly.
President Trump responded by accusing Democrats of a coup against his presidency, calling the investigation itself one big hoax on national television with the president of Finland and at campaign rallies in both Minneapolis and Louisiana. An impeachment inquiry does not ensure either impeachment of the president or his removal from office. It's merely an inquiry and not even a formal investigation. The impeachment process is not like your average criminal justice case.
Although the Constitution provides for impeachment for what it calls high crimes and misdemeanors, it is a politically driven process. The Constitution vests the sole authority to impeach with the House of Representatives, and the House develops a list of charges or articles of impeachment against the person in question. None of those things happened in the current instance, cutting out the voting process and leaving subpoena power and the investigation in the hands of the Democratic Party alone. Because of this informality, those served with subpoenas are not legally required to comply. With this sudden break in traditional processes, it's difficult for experts to predict what will come of the impeachment within the final year of Trump's presidency. And homecoming week is officially underway here at UNC. We'll catch you up on what happened and what is yet to come.
And we look onward to Halloween and see how school is prepping for the day. Stay tuned.
During this year's homecoming, Bear Pride takes on a whole new meaning. Veteran host Jessica Lohore and Chris Stahl took us down the rabbit hole for Spectrum's 10th annual drag show. Queens flaunted stunning outfits and their best choreography along the main stage. The theme, Dragged Through the Looking Glass, drew inspiration from Alice in Wonderland. Admission to the event, hosted in the UC ballrooms, was free, but instead sponsors asked spectators to bring $1 and $5 bills to tip performers. 100% of those earnings went to tips going towards the Queer Prom Fund, and attendees could also book VIP seating for $25, earning them an 8-seat table at the office at the front of the stage. We'll have footage of that event next week as we continue our coverage of homecoming festivities.
Homecoming week started off with amazing performances from fellow Bears at Open Mic Night on Monday. The night was full of talent, from guitars to ukuleles to even turntables. Students showcased their talent at the campus commons. Some sang their favorite songs and others performed original pieces. The evening also featured the original spoken words. The University Program Council put the event together and provided a great lineup for the audience. If you missed out on Open Mic Night and want to show some of what you got, the Highbrow Tap House has an open mic at 6 p.m. every Monday night, hosted by fellow UNC Bear, Jared Chandler. King Soopers shelves may look pretty barren this weekend, but rest assured it's not for another early snowstorm or anything like that.
Homecoming week has plenty of fun events, but some campus traditions are just too good to be forgotten. UNC students got together in the McKee Breezeway for the traditional Canstruction event Tuesday morning. Fraternities, sororities, and other student-led organizations paired with one another to build the best structure. The catch? They were only allowed one material, non-perishable food cans. From aluminum rocket ships to tin flying saucers, students built some amazing structures. And others? Well, they did what they could.
Whether it's cans of Chef Boyardee or just plain old green beans, all of the proceeds from today will be donated to the Bear Pantry as well as the Weld County Food Bank. Now, I remember it being pretty chilly there in that breezeway on that morning, but it didn't cool down the heat of competition, now did it?
Well, the crisp mornings tell us that it's fall in Greeley. And now for some students, this is the season that brings joy to them because in 2 weeks, they get to wear costumes for Halloween. You might not know, but UNC is among the top haunted, one of the top haunted universities in the country. Because of our haunted university, Missioner Library's coffee cart is decorating their cart with a crafty Halloween style in full display while students wait for food and beverages. With a small portion of Missioner already decorated for the holidays, some students still had a hard time figuring out what they plan to do for Halloween. One student who chose not to be on camera or give her name said she's dressing up as Dion from the movie Clueless. With only 2 weeks until the spooky day comes, the UNC community will soon be filled with the Halloween spirit.
Coming up on sports, UNC puts over 20 points against Eastern Washington Eagles on Saturday, but was it enough to get over the team's losing ways?
In Northern Colorado, teams found success. Tanner Schwinn will tell you which ones after this.
The Bears women's soccer team took a short 2-game road trip this past weekend, and the results were mixed. First stop, Southern Utah University, Friday night. The Bears started the scoring early as Kara Quinn put them ahead just 12 minutes into the match. But for the Bears, Friday night scoring did not happen just once, as Quinn put 2 in the back of the net, and Olivia Seddon added another. The Bears beat the Thunderbirds 3-1. Next stop was a trip a little further south to Northern Arizona University. In this one, the home field advantage took its toll on the Lady Bears as they went down 2-0. Next up for the Bears is the start of the final homestand of the regular season. It all starts tomorrow night against Portland State University. That game starts at 7 p.m. You know, it just sounds better to say that the Bears scored 3 touchdowns against Eastern Washington, rather than to tell you they lost 54-21 to Cheney, Washington, Saturday. Running back Milo Hall scored all 3 touchdowns, with 2 in the third and 1 in the fourth quarter, in a game riddled with what head coach Collins called mistakes. And that's a reoccurring problem for the Bears. Out of 7 games they've had this season, they've won only 1. So better luck next time, Bears. And that next time comes this Saturday when the Bears face off against Portland State in the homecoming game. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. The UNC volleyball team had a good weekend, picking up another 2 wins at home to continue their 6-game streak and remain undefeated in the Big Sky. On Friday, the Bears swept Eastern Washington across 3 winning sets. The Bears managed to get every player from seasoned veteran to reserve freshman on the court and still maintain double-digit leads. Their luck held Saturday, and they surrendered only the first of 4 sets to the Idaho Vandals. The third and fourth sets were intense in comparison to Friday, but the Bears reigned victorious. Coach Lindsey Oates credited the win to the team's mental composure. The Bears volleyball team is now 6-0 in the Big Sky Conference, which hasn't happened since 2010. Their next game is tonight, actually, against Sacramento State in Sacramento, but you can support them at home against Southern University on October 26th. Guys, at least the football team is obviously struggling, but that volleyball team, whenever you get every player in a match, that's doing something right.
No, that definitely shows a lot of support that the Bears have for each other, but can we just talk about the football team one more time?
What's happening? What's going on?
We're kind of beating a dead horse with that one. I think it's time to look forward. The basketball season, though, guys, I will tell you, the basketball season is going to be good.
Basketball season will be good. And that will do it for our show. Thank you so much for watching today.
And be sure to follow us on all of our social media pages for up-to-date information. And as always, have a wonderful week.
Good night.